This video is going to show you how to do a really clean fade in a super simple way, so let's get into it. My name is Andre Morales. I've been a barber for 9 years, and in those 9 years I've tried lots of different ways of cutting, different steps, different techniques, and today I'm going to show you exactly what I found worked best for me, and hopefully it works best for you as well. So as you can see, I'm starting off this haircut by trimming the top first. And the reason I want to start off by trimming the top first is because just like when we do a buzz cut, we chop it down and then do the fade. When we trim the top first, we know exactly what we need to blend into. But in this scenario, as you can see, once the hair is wet and I have it sectioned off, the hair is very thin and we want to keep majority of the length towards the front. So you'll see I really didn't start trimming anything until about the middle of his head and moved back from there because the front was so much shorter. Now after we do that middle section, I'm going to comb over to the right, and then I'm going to take horizontal sections, which is that sideways section I just did, and we're going to work our way forward using that middle guideline that we did at the beginning as our guideline for the rest. So you'll see I'm going section by section forward, and on the inside of my finger is the shortest part, which is what we cut at the beginning. Very simple, very easy. We're not taking off too much length. All we're doing is trimming, making sure it's neat because he just combs it forward, to cover up the recession point. And now we're towards the front, and we're being very careful here because this is already a very short part of the haircut. It doesn't grow as dense or full, so we want to keep majority of the length. Now we'll comb that all over towards the right, and then I'm going to use my comb to create that middle section once again and comb over towards his left to trim that side. So you'll see I'm taking those horizontal sections starting in the back, and I'm not making the sections very wide. I'm making it about the width of my comb, and I'm moving forward. So you'll see on the outside of my finger is that middle guideline, and we're just matching. I found this system of cutting to be the simplest way for me to stay organized but yet efficient, because we don't want to spend all day on a haircut when the way we make money in our career is cutting hair, right? We want to be as efficient while maintaining quality as possible. And right here I'm finishing off that trim, and we're just gonna go ahead and comb everything forward. And what I'm gonna do is even out the bangs, so you see I'm point cutting so it's not too hard. And everybody knows this feeling. You gotta look at your client's phone. If they pull it out, you gotta look. But we're just blow drying our client's hair to get it as dry as possible. And then we're gonna get into the fade. So with the fade, we're gonna debulk with the 2-guard, being sure to not take this up too high. And the reason we want to debulk before establishing our bald line to begin our fade is because it's been so long without a haircut. We have a lot of hair to cut through. So this is just gonna give us a nice clean canvas to work with when setting in our guidelines and beginning this fade. And this is going to be a mid-drop fade. Some people would consider it low, but I would say more mid. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping the top at the parietal ridge as full as I can. And now we're going to establish that bald line. So we started at the end of the eyebrow, and we're rounding it behind the ear and dropping it towards the back. I believe this shape of a fade to be the most natural looking on most clients' head shape. Just because it gives a more balanced look that maintains the length at the top of the fade that we want. And now we're going to flip that trimmer around and bald it all the way out. And the trimmer I'm using is my Stylecraft Instinct trimmers. Their newest version, which is the metal version. Super fire. If you guys want to copy yours, head over to stylecraft.com and use code DrakeClipperHands at checkout for a nice little discount. You know I got you. And now we're going to go to the other side and do the same exact thing. End of the eyebrow around the ear, dropping towards that bone that sticks out in the back. Or in other words, occipital bone. And then we're just going to bald it out. Now if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, but you want to go a little more in depth, I have an online training program for barbers or people beginning to cut hair where we go a little more in depth in the haircut journey. And you'll be thrown into a community of barbers who are hungry to grow as well. So if you're interested in my online training program, head over to the link in the description and tap on Drake Clipperhands Academy, and you'll get a little more information. And I hope to see you in the community. So now we're going to use our shaver to bald out the bottom. And we're being sure with the shaver to not take it all the way up to the bald line. We want to stay a little below. And now we have our lever all the way open to establish our next guideline, and we're going up about a finger's width, or I would say about a 1/4 inch. And now we're going to start getting rid of the line in between, so we're going to come in closed and tap at that line initially, and then as we move up, I'll open up that lever little by little until we're fully open at the top of that guideline. And after we get rid of that line in between, we're going to move on up with our 1 guard lever all the way open. And we want to go up that same exact width, staying real consistent. We want this blend to be nice and gradual. So I'm just going over it multiple times to ensure that I have this guideline as a 1 guard all the way open. Now we're going to move on to our 1.5 open, because again, we know we debulked with that 2 guard open, which is that length at the top of the fade. So we're going right under it with our 1.5 open. And then if it doesn't get rid of the line fully, you'll see me close up that lever to lighten it up all the way. And I can already tell at this point of the fade, the back is going to be where we need to put the most detail, because it already looks the most dense or the most dark. And that's just because of that bone creates a lot of dark spots that we need to be a little more attentive to. Now, before I get rid of that last line, I felt the need to line up his arch area. So I'm starting at the top of the arch and then going to the bottom and connecting it in the middle. And this is going to help to ensure not taking the fade up too high to where I sacrifice, the shade of darkness that is in that area. And now we're going to get rid of the last line. So I have my 1/2 guard with the lever open. And we're going to attack this line, and if the open doesn't do the job, we'll close that lever until that line is completely blended. But you can already see the shape of this fade is fitting the client's head shape so nicely, especially considering that we're going to keep the crown area as full as we can, just because it is a little thinner. And a lot of times when the hair is thinner in the crown area and you take it too short, it makes it look even lighter. So we want to maintain that length at the top just to keep it, as full looking as we can. And we're just working with the 1/2 guard, trying to get this blend as blurry and as clean as we can. And if you guys think this system has been super simple thus far, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about it so far. But as you can see right there at the back of the head is the darkest spot. Now we did the same exact steps in that area, but for some reason the lines just weren't coming out, they weren't lightening up. So I'm using my 1/2 guard a lot of the corner to get into those dark areas and break them up. And now to help transition into the length at the top of the fade, we're gonna do some clipper over comb. Now if you're nervous with clipper over comb, just because it is a little intimidating when you don't know about taking off too much, you can leave off or pick up where you left off with the 2 guard open and just go to the 3, then the 4, then the 5 if needed. But if you want to be more efficient and more effective, which I believe should always be the goal when coming up with the system of cutting, clipper over comb, anything above a 1.5 I believe to be the best technique. And as you can see, I'm detailing the other side and this blend is hitting. Now after we complete the blend, we're going to get into the beard. And all blending into the beard is basically a taper, but in reverse. So we started off bald, then we went lever open, got rid of the line in between. Now we're going to come in with the 1 open. And a lot of times after the 1 open, it blends into the beard very nicely. As you can see, it's already transitioning well, but it didn't get rid of it fully. So I'm going to grab my 2 guard and boom, that beard blend is pretty much complete. Didn't take much time at all. But we are going to take his beard down. This client originally wasn't used to having a beard, but I recommended to him to grow it out. But at this point, it's a little too long. I think it looked a little scraggly, so we decided to knock it down to a 4 guard, which I believe makes it look a lot neater just because it keeps it darker, but more to the face. And this boy's looking happy. It looks like the hair in his face was too much for him. So I'm glad we took it down to the 4, gave him a cleaner look. But now let's get into the lineup. So we're going to line up his mustache. We're just going to get the hair off of the lip. And then we'll flip that trimmer around to clean up the top of the mustache. And now we're going to frame out the bottom of the beard, which is really going to give it the fullness, especially when the beard is short. The back line and the bottom line of the neck really make the jawline pop and the beard look a lot stronger. So we framed out the back of the beard. Now we're going to go to the bottom and frame that out as well. We don't want to take it in or too far up. We want to keep it as wide as possible, but get as sharp and as crispy as possible as well. And now we're going to get into lining up the top. So with the top of the beard, I want to start off at the bottom and then go to the top and connect those 2 points in the middle. I believe that's the best way to get a nice round shape on a beard without digging into it or taking off more hair than needed. So we're going to create that initial line with our razor. And then for the top of the beard, his skin was a little sensitive, I started to notice. So I used my trimmer to shave the top, and then we'll reline it. And this is just to sharpen it up to ensure that it really was clean and it wasn't just an ash line. And as you can see, it's framing out very nicely. And now we're going to go to the other side and we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to start at the top. But you'll notice after doing the top, like I said, my client's skin was sensitive. So I'm going to grab my trimmer to clean up the bottom, get rid of majority of the hair. And then we'll really sharpen it up with that razor. And now we're going to go to the bottom and connect those 2 points in the middle and get that beard looking right. Now, I don't remember if you know what my man came in looking like, but here's a before and this is the after. Family, if this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And again, if you want to go more in depth, join Dre Clipper Hands Academy, my online training program. But like always, I will catch y'all next time. Peace.